Okay, we're going live and we are live. Over to you, Alex.
All right. Thanks for joining another AMA, another great week. One of our best in deposits and new users joining. So I want to thank all the new people who are joining the Celsius community. We had an amazing showing at the Bank to the Future fundraising across the 18.8 million raised from 850 contributors from all over the world. Many of these guys also and gals have also joined as Celsius customers. So again, I want to thank you for your trust and for supporting this project of building something for the community, for the people, by the people. And as always, we are doing this to always act in your best interest. So many new things that we're doing. I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the updates, and then we'll do AMA with Roni Cohen-Pavon, who's our lawyer, has been our lawyer from the beginning. And you know, people ask me, what's the secret to Celsius success? How come you guys are doing great? So now we're revealing one more secret that many of you don't know. And Roni's joining us from Israel, where I see it's getting a little bit dark as it's Friday night over there. And so
that's why my wife kicked me to the balcony.
Well, you have a great view there, so not too bad. And so also want to talk about GEM. If you haven't seen, we launched ACH and SEPA. So now you can, in addition to a partnership with Simplex, where you could use credit cards and debit cards in many, many countries around the world and in many different currencies, you can now also basically connect your bank account to Celsius through a partnership with Wire. And you can use SEPA as well to wire funds and convert them into one of the supported coins or tokens. In each country, there's a different restriction, different permission. So open the app, press the buy button, and you can look at all the options and see if they work for you. We are working to lower the fees on those things. We just wanted to launch as quickly as possible, but we will be lowering fees on all the different payment methods to, again, give back more to the community. But really excited about GEM and our ability to remove a lot of the friction that we had where you had to go and buy the coin somewhere else and all that stuff. So that is a big update. And that's it for me. So I wanted to do some explaining on, and Tom, actually, I won't be able to actually share the. So I don't know if you have a simulator, or you can use your phone just to show the community page on the phone, because I wanted to walk the viewers through the whole idea of how more users, which we publish in real time. Basically, if you go to the app and you go to the community page, which Tom will show us in a minute, you can see how many people are joining or using Celsius every day. So every day you can see what the change is. Is it getting higher or is it getting lower? And as long as it's getting higher, there is more users. You can also see how much they're depositing. A line below that is, okay, how much do we have in AUM? We also publish that on our main page on Celsius.network on the main website. More users hopefully means more assets. Well, does more assets translate into more earned interest? Well, we publish every week. If you go on our Twitter account, for example, maybe Tom can share that as well, you can see how much interest we pay every week. And if we are earning more interest every week, are we paying more to our community? And you can see exactly, again, on Twitter, if you go to the Celsius Network Twitter page, you'll be able to see how much we pay every week. And if we are paying more and more people are using the Cell token, then we have to buy more Cell on the different exchanges every week. We have to go to market and buy more Cell. So all those things, that is a flywheel. Tom, if you can go back to that page, just show the flywheel on the Cell page. All these things are connecting the dots into the very, very unique flywheel model that Celsius has, that many people want to have. Many companies claim they're going to develop a blockchain that does it. They're going to build something that acts in your best interest. Celsius is doing this every week. So here you're seeing the 4 tiers that are available, right? So if you have 15% of your assets in Cell Token, you're getting a 35% bonus. You're in the platinum tier, and so on. All these different tiers are enabling you to earn more if you're earning in Cell instead of earning in kind. And just go down a little bit more. Let's show them the flywheel. There's a lot of great content here, the Cell utilities. And here you're seeing both how there's a great video there of how the Cell token works. And on the right, you're seeing the flywheel itself. So more users equals more deposits. More deposits means more interest earned, because we lend these coins, we rehypothecate, lend these coins, earn interest. More interest means that we have to pay out more to you guys, since we pay up to 80% back to the community. And that translates back into higher Cell token prices, as long as the rest of the community is not selling. And if you want to see if they're selling or not, Tom, if you can go to the top 100 page, it's on the one of the bars. So we actually list our top 100 holders, and you can see everyone who is on that list. No, it's on the I think it's top 100. Just click on top 100. It's one of the bottom ones. I can't see it, but it says top 100. It's not on the, it's on the other menu. Yeah. Sorry about that. And one more to the left. You see top 100 there? I can't see it from here. But anyway, if you look at the menus, we are listing a link to a subpage. Just do /top 100. Celsius.network/top 100. It's on the menu, but I don't know why it's not coming up.
Yeah, my apologies. There we are.
Yeah, so that is, Tom needs to refresh his homepage, because it hasn't been refreshed in a long time. But anyway, so we list all of the, if you scroll down, you can see how many people we have, how much everybody owns. I'm number 1 on the list. You can see how much Alex owns in Cell Token every week. Is Alex buying or selling, and so on. And if you go down to the bottom guy, to the number 100 guy, and you see that number, this is the minimum you need to own to get to be on the top 100 list, right? So right now I can't see the number from here. What's the number?
299,904 Cell.
Right. So when we actually launched this page, it was less than 200,000. Now it's almost 300,000. That tells you that to be on this list, as long as that number is going up, that tells you that most of these people are accumulated. Because if they were selling, that would mean that it would be less difficult to get on this list. If it's harder and harder to get on this list, on the top 100 holders, it means all these guys are hodling Cell token. That is a great indication of where the Cell price is going, right? So if you want to know, my point is that all this information we just gave you, especially the information on your Celsius app, on the community page. Again, Celsius is the only company that provides this information, right? Full disclosure. Why? Because it's not just that we're doing so well, it's because disclosure leads to a better company, leads to better performance, leads to attracting the right people to come and work for the team, and so on. So put all this information together, and you can actually have a very good feeling about where things are going. Is the company doing better? Is the community growing? Follow the Twitter feed, right? See how many people are on the feed. Is the number of people on Telegram and Twitter increasing? Are deposits increasing? Are they really paying it out? Can I check it on the blockchain? All this information is information that is available for you to look into. And as you get more and more knowledgeable about putting all this information together, you can verify if the Celsius flywheel is actually working or not. So that's what I wanted to give you guys today. Again, I know all this information in different places and it's not as easy to put together, but Tom, one more thing, just let's share the Celsius.com page. This is a community effort. So we are being audited by outside guys every day. These guys have done a great job of putting together a website that collects this amazing information. We actually didn't have it ourselves. This is, for example, showing you what was the interest rate for each coin Celsius supports since we launched the project. And you can see that unlike most of our competitors that have the same rate for a year, Celsius changes the rate every week. So again, if Celsius changes the rate up or down because we're earning more or less, and the other guys are not changing the rate at all, rain or shine, they're paying the same rate. What does it tell you? Is it a good thing or a bad thing, right? So our argument is that we pay you what we actually earned, while other people are basically subsidizing it just to try to attract a lot of assets, but they're not really earning it. If they were earning it, you would be able to see it. Here you're seeing the growth of the user base. Again, going back all the way to the beginning, you can see week by week, these guys take the numbers right from the app, because app doesn't show you the history, right? But they put a marker, right, every week of how many users were on the Celsius platform, how many depositors, how much in deposit. So you can see a perfect history of Celsius, and you can see, is it accelerating, is it slowing down, how is the community, the health of the community, because the cell token, the price of the cell token is directly correlated to the health of the community. If the community is shrinking, I guarantee you the price of the cell token will also be shrinking. So scroll down a little bit. And here you're seeing week by week, again, you have 3 different parameters here. You can see in percentages, are we getting more deposits? Are we accelerating? Are we slowing down? And this relates to interest payment, total AUM, and other parameters. So scroll down a little bit more. Again, these are the tiers. We showed that before. And there's very good explanation here, as well as a chart here, just down a little bit. Yeah, a chart that tracks how much did we buy back versus the price of the cell token. So you can see that the cell token actually has almost like a delayed reaction. So because we've been buying cell on market. Celsius is the largest buyer of cell on cell markets because we have to pay interest to our community for a very long time. And you can see that the cell token itself has just gotten a life recently meaning last few months, but it's still not ahead of the actual purchases. And every week we're buying more because we're earning more interest. So the cell token price has to actually catch up with all of this. And the next slide is a great visual. This is one of my favorite slides ever. It's a great visual that shows you all the tokens that are available, broken into the different buckets, what's happening with each bucket. And obviously the green bucket is the Celsius community taking over, right? They earn that token, or they buy that token, they deposit it with the Celsius wallet, and you can see basically how much is left out there, which has not been bought yet, right? So the scarcity effect comes into play here. And again, you can play with this, you can look at the data sources, you can see where the data is being taken. Most of this data comes from the blockchain, right? So it's immutable data. It's not like we can play around or manipulate it or anything like that. Everybody knows how many cell tokens were issued. That number is not going to change. Everybody knows how much we have in our treasury. Again, all that is listed in our cell token page on our website, and you can check it and verify it yourself. And scroll down just a little bit more, and you can see again the different distributions and the different movement of what's happening as the community grows, as the AUM grows. So, okay, great. Let's go to our guest. Roni, tell us a little bit about your background, and you've been in this industry for a while, and tell us how did you get to meet Celsius? Why did you decide to work with us? Because in the beginning, we were an unknown entity, and you picked us out of a litter. You're like, I like this company.
Thanks, Alex. First of all, I'm super excited to be here. And I want to start with a secret. I'm not working for Celsius. I don't know if you know that, Alex, even though we spend few hours a day on the phone and on emails, but I work for HFN, which is the biggest Israeli law firm, Herzog Fox and Neiman. I'm part of the internet department, and we basically deal for almost 20 years with global industries, borderless industries that are driven by regulation. I joined this team around 6 years ago, focusing mainly on fintech, financial services, payment processing, AML, etc. And I think it was in 2014, I bought my first Bitcoin for 200. I sold it for 1,000. I told my wife we're going to buy a boat, and we know where Bitcoin is now. And that was my first experience, only as, you know, speculative instrument that has nothing to do with what sales is building or where the industry is now. In 2016, again, I tried my luck, this time with Ether. And I noticed that regulation affects the price of cryptocurrencies. And I thought, okay, I'm doing financial regulation, I'm doing AML, I'm doing it worldwide. Why won't I look at regulation and trade on this basis? And when I got deeper and deeper into this industry, and I saw it's not only a speculative instrument, but something that's going to change the way we consume, I decided I'm going to open this practice. I'm going to make my hobby into my practice in the firm. And this is what I've been doing since then. In between, I went to the board of directors of my firm and told them about my plan. I didn't even have a chance to complete my sentence, and they said no. I tried again, they said no. I tried again, they said, if you're going to try it one more time, you're fired. So
because it's a high risk segment, right?
The only thing that people knew about Bitcoin back in the days was that it's related to Silk Road. Bitcoin was not that famous as store of value or means of payment, but only as the way that, you know, criminals pay each other for drugs and weapons. And, you know, very traditional law firm, and we're again the biggest law firm in Israel. We couldn't afford ourselves to take our reputation representing some of the biggest companies in the world and get into an industry that had more criminals than people that really want to change the world. So we took some baby steps going into this. We onboarded some projects, and this is, by the way, one of the most difficult things I had to deal with. Understand which clients I should onboard and which I cannot, because we see ourselves as gatekeepers. If I onboard a client, it means that I'm giving him my full endorsement to do whatever he wants, as long as he listens to me. And the combination of, you know, financial guys going into crypto, tech guys going into crypto, and people that are trying to use the opportunity going into crypto made this very challenging for me. I met you guys for the first time when one of my partners went to visit his family, I think in the US. He told me, listen, you must meet Alex, you must meet Daniel, they have something amazing. I said, okay, so they need to come to Israel. That's the only way we onboard people. I need to look them in the eyes and tell them, you're not going to scam anyone. You're building something good that I'm going to be proud of. So Alex and Daniel came to Israel. I was in London. Then Alex came to London for something else. I was in New York. Then Alex came back to New York. I was in Israel. And then we finally met a month later in Singapore. So I think that's a brief explanation of what it is to deal with crypto. And I don't know if you remember, Alex, but when we met for the first time at the lobby of BEF 2018, you told me, I have two missions for you. One, keep me out of trouble. Two, make people understand it's not too good to be true. I need to build trust. I need to make sure people understand I'm doing it with regulators, with the way they traditionally consume their financial services, the way they do their banking, the way they make money out of their assets. So let's push towards where we can find it. It was almost impossible back then. And one of the main challenges for me is to deal with clients that used to tell me, listen, I want to do what these guys did. They're not in prison. They made tons of money. And I need to explain why wouldn't I approve it? And actually, it was very difficult to find or structure the best way to show trust in whatever we do. So I think the first decision was we're not going to do an offshore ICO. We had lots of, Barbados, Cayman, BVI ICOs back then. We decided to go to the UK. We decided to onboard with a UK top tier law firm, one of the biggest in the world, which was also challenging. I took a plane to London and trying to convince these guys to get into crypto and then to work with Celsius. And I successfully did it. And then we structured the entire way we approached the US market. It was a few months after the famous Dow case, and it was a very hard decision for Celsius as a global company to shut down the ICO for US retail clients. And not only that, we filed the Form D. And I think we were one of the first ones to do that. We went, to a Wall Street.
Form D, for people that don't know, just maybe explain what's a Form D filed with the SEC.
Yeah, so we basically filed a form with the SEC telling them, listen, we're not hiding anything. This is what we have done in the US. These are the people we approach in the US, and this is how we approach them. So we filed it, I believe, in March 2018. Then we registered with FinCEN. And we tried to find more and more ways to show that we're not hiding anything. I think we've done quite a good job since then. Even when, we got some letters from regulators over the years, and then we explained to them and they said, okay, you filed the Form D. We didn't know that. They were so surprised that they didn't even bother to check the SEC's website.
Because everybody else, no one else did. We were the only crazy ones to do it. So
why won't you, who Google a crypto company and the SEC on the same sentence? Unless it's a fraud, you cannot find any connection. So that was our first decision to go with them hand by hand. And I think, Alex, our first fight was about AML. That was in 2018, you had no legal requirements to do the AML for crypto to crypto transaction. And ICO is obviously, you accept Ether, you give your issued token, so you don't need to do any AML, especially if you're outside of, if you're in an offshore or something. And as you always said, you live in 2030. So this is how we structure the company. And we want to make sure our money coming in 2018 will still serve us in 2030 and will not harm us. We had a very, very, let's say, comprehensive AML and onboarding process with those who took part at the ICO, those who registered with the app. And by the way, today, when we are subject to AML and KYC requirements, we change nothing. I mean, we were able to know exactly what the process would be when in 2018, when we didn't have to do anything. And now that we do, we're having the same process.
Right, and we rejected people back in 17 and 18 and 19. I mean, we would probably have twice as many users today if we didn't do KYC and continuous AML. So it's definitely, it wasn't an easy decision. It was a very hard decision to do the right thing so early on. You work with several other exchanges, so maybe just compare that to what other exchanges had to do, because many of them kind of decided to push this as late as possible and face the consequences today. Yeah,
we see it now. We see it on a daily basis. People are getting shut down from their account with exchanges. People are not able to take their money into their bank. I mean, the fact that you cannot show the money flow, and the fact that your money, that the money you got was not sourced from ISIS or I don't know who, makes it worthless. I mean, you can have Bitcoin, you can have your private key, but you have no ability to use it. And unfortunately or not, we're still paying our rent and mortgage with fiat. And the fact that some, anarchists, if I may say, decided that, okay, we're going to use only Bitcoin. It should be fully anonymous. we don't need to comply with anything, they act, they do not serve the best interest of their clients. And I came across not only clients, but companies that did ICO, they decided not to do AML KYC. They don't exist anymore because they got Ether. Okay, they cannot pay the employees, they cannot work with institutional, they cannot take the money into a bank. And especially given Celsius business model, it was almost impossible. That was an easy decision. I mean, it was easy to know what we should do. It wasn't easy to make a decision to do that.
Yeah, they call that growing pains. You know, that's why it's because the only way to grow is to go through a little bit of pain. So
yeah. So yeah, I think it was quite challenging, but without that we couldn't be here today.
But and we continue to trailblaze. So maybe share some secrets with viewers, because you helped us be one of the first to apply for licensing and registration around the world, and everybody wants to know, okay, where is Celsius going next? So why don't you kind of spill the beans a little bit and tell everybody what's happening?
So first of all, that's another secret. It's not that easy to get a license in the crypto space. It's one of the first industries that regulators are not trying to kill it on its first day. Maybe because it got too big before they noticed, or maybe because they really see the benefits of what this industry has to offer. But the fact is that they're not trying to kill it. On one hand, on the other hand, they still don't understand it. So some are taking a step or two back and are not willing to regulate it. When we started and we launched the app, we approached several regulators. The fact that we've done the ICO from the UK doesn't mean we need to operate from the UK. And we saw that no one wanted to touch it, not because they thought it's bad. We got answers that, okay, do whatever you do, I'm not giving you any license, because they simply cannot understand that. So it's not that easy to decide which licenses to get and where, especially given Celsius business model. Celsius is in many ways a one-stop shop. The fact that you can buy crypto, you can send it to Celsius and earn interest, you can get fiat loans. These are very different services regulated by different regulators in the same state. So we had some challenges there. The world is changing now. AMLD5, which is the anti-money laundering directive in Europe, came into force. So more and more regulators are willing to do the registrations. And we've completed the registration with the regulator that is now our home regulator, the FCA. Since we are based in the UK and we were active in the UK even before 2020, we needed to register with the FCA, which this name registration may be misleading. I've done a few registrations in the past. We've done that for Celsius and FinCEN, which is the US regulator. But you know, usually it's a page or two to get registered. In the UK, I think all of my department worked on it for like two weeks. We filed the way our IT connects to each other, the way we manage the risk, how much money we have, how much AUM, how we secure clients' money, what's our future plans, what do we do in stress scenarios. We ended up filing 270 pages describing Celsius. So it's
and
more,
obviously when you file it with a regulator, you have to make sure everything is 100% accurate. This is not just this is not like a little form that allows you to go to kindergarten, right? So
yeah.
So everything was scrubbed 7 times over by lawyers and accountants and so on.
Yeah, luckily I didn't have to deal with numbers because we filed the audit before that, so that was someone else's problem. I've made a good choice of being a lawyer, not an accountant.
And we just completed the round of funding, so luckily we just went through 6 months of due diligence with our lead investor, which kind of made everything be ready for this filing as well. Yeah.
And I think we'll address this later, but in terms of licensing, I think that, you know, now that this round of funding And I was told you during this round, Alex, don't forget to give me a portion. I need to get you guys licenses worldwide. We need to open offices worldwide. And at least for now, I'm happy from the budget. So this is why we're taking this forward. We're now opening the Australian office. And
our number 4 market down under, the 4th largest market for Celsius, Australia. Yeah.
And I think it's a growing market. It's an amazing market, especially given the fact that not too many good players are going into this market. Not only because, time zones and the fact it's quite difficult to communicate with users there, but it's a different mentality, the other side of the world. And not too many people understand the opportunity of going to Australia. So we've decided to have an office there to register with Austrac, which is the parallel of FinCEN in the US. That will allow Celsius to get cryptocurrencies for its clients, sell and buy cryptocurrencies, and we're going to get a lending license. Maybe it will be the first one that will allow us to freely lend and market our services towards Australia. So exciting news for the community and for Celsius in general. Next in line is Gibraltar, where Celsius is going to have an office to serve the UK market, especially at the post-Brexit era. Not many companies are able to take into account the implications because they're either too big and they are not flexible enough to split their offering from UK and Europe. So the decision that was made by Daniel and Alex is to focus on the UK and rest of Europe as a separate continent. So an office in Gibraltar to serve the UK market in terms of lending mostly. We're also applying for 2 lending licenses in the US, in 2 US states that are currently blocked. I'd rather not reveal it now, but we're in the process, we're in discussions with the regulators. And basically, wherever Celsius, this is at least the prerogative I got, wherever Celsius is able to get jurisdictions and licenses, we will apply for it in order to make sure we're building this trust. I mean, I'm taking you back, Alex, to 2018. You told me, let's make sure people don't think it's too good to be true. Let's make sure it's good and it's true. The way to do that is to be fully transparent, as you mentioned before.
Well, look, and the issue is that when you give so much back to the community, people go and say, oh, like it must be too good to be true. No one else is doing it, right? So in 17, 18, even 19, we were the only ones doing it. Now there's 20 copycats that try to do exactly what Celsius does, and they try to match us on the rates and everything else. And now when people see, oh, there's 4 or 5 guys and they all offer the same thing, that must be that it means that Celsius was doing the right thing all the time, right? So the issue is not that what Celsius was giving was too much. The issue is that everybody else was stealing so much from you, right? That's what the problem is, right? So when all you see, when you use other companies and all you see are fees upon fees upon fees, you don't think that the service can be provided with no fees. That is not even something that people consider.
Yeah, and this, again, regulators don't always understand what Celsius is doing. I think I've spoken with much more regulators than licenses that we can get. And that's a problem because my personal vision, and Alex, tell me if you disagree, I'm pretty sure you do. You do agree. My vision is that the only way to bring crypto to the mass, to have the 100 million people in crypto, is to bring adoption. You bring adoption through trust. You bring trust through traditional tools. One of these traditional tools is licenses. I mean, take digital banks. Not all countries allow it, and still people are going elsewhere because there are reputable regulators that are giving such licenses and are giving more and better services than you can find where you live. And this adoption came after after the FCA and US regulators came into this market and started regulating it, and not because, you know, some small country just trying to collect some taxes and then has nothing to do with protecting consumers decided to do so. So in our discussions with regulators, most of the answers is, okay, I understand, but I cannot regulate this, and this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make them, or at least get their blessing. We do it in more and more jurisdictions, and you can see it. Celsius is open in many jurisdictions, more than others. And I can promise you that each jurisdiction, we analyze specifically how we do that. I have a guy in my team, Yarden, that spends most of his day watching on one big screen with 200 countries and 50 US states with the different services provided by Celsius, and decides whether the risk is higher or lower and where we can open, where we should shut down. And that's not an easy decision. And probably the most hardest decision for me is to tell you, Alex, to shut down Israel, because as someone who's with you from day one, I cannot be your client.
Well, we're waiting for you to get a license over there, so that's the solution.
Yeah.
But obviously, we have an office in Israel, which is you have different requirements when you have whatever. I think we have 15 people there now, than when you're just operating overseas with non-solicitation. But I think it's important for people to understand that regulators are appointed by governments and governments are appointed by the people. So the job of the regulator is really to represent the best interest of the people, which is exactly what Celsius is doing. So our job, when you go and talk to them, when I go and talk to them, is to convince regulators that we're doing exactly what they're doing. Yes, it's a new field, it's a new area, but as long as we're acting in the best interest of the users, and they dig through everything. They go through every detail to make sure that you're not lying to them, you're not taking advantage of anyone, and so on. Then they basically agree. They say, sure, yeah, you can provide the service. Because they regulate all the banks. They regulate all the financial institutions, but they can't force these guys to pay or give more to the depositors, right? I mean, they can't do that. So as the banks got bigger and bigger and bigger, they paid less and less and less to the depositors, right? I mean, I did an AMA, I think a few months ago, where I showed a chart that shows you the consolidation of the banking business in the United States and how the interest rate just kept coming down throughout those years. And it's the same thing is true in Europe and Japan and everywhere else. So the issue is really about, there is no conflict. Like Celsius from day one decided that there is no conflict between being compliant and being regulated and providing these financial services, while most of the other projects, over 2,000 projects, decided not to apply for any license, register with anyone, and not require KYC ML. So we were by far the only exception, and that's why we didn't get a inquiry or what do you call it, or a hard subpoena from the SEC or any other regulator.
You know, I have other clients, so you're not the only one, but I can tell you, you listen to all I'm asking, so I give you that. But yes, and I think one of the main challenges.
I have 6 kids. I can't afford to go to jail. It's not an option even. So, you know.
Some days you wish to. I have one, and So what I'm saying is, the main challenge is to know what will happen with regulation in 5 years. And since we cannot know it, our only way is to kill the incentive of the regulator to act against us. And if you look at what the SEC did on mid-2017, the SEC acted against projects that they thought they were bad. There were too many projects in this industry, and they cherry-picked those that the SEC was sure that are not acting for the best benefit of the client. And as long as we do that, and you know, I tell you this all the time, I can't tell you what will happen in 5 years. I can't tell you what will happen in 2 years. I can tell you that as long as you provide good services, as long as you're fully transparent, as long as no complaints will come from your clients, and you give good services, you should be good, because the regulator will have no incentive to act against you. And you know, the app is 2 years plus on the air. So I guess we've done it.
You've done an excellent job. I think, look, HFN has been an amazing partner for us, and the whole team working around the clock, helping us again avoid landmines. The issue is also not just regulator. I mean, the people who are complaining about Celsius every day are the banks and the people who are afraid of crypto, right? And as they see us get bigger and bigger, you see people actively calling our customers, calling our vendors, calling everyone they can see, and telling them bad things about Celsius. Oh, Celsius is this, Celsius is that. And I said publicly 20 times, let me say it again, Celsius never has more loans than deposit. Celsius never could not just return all the assets to all the depositors at any time because we had any financial problem or we had something else. Again, we just raised money at the highest valuation of any DeFi or any CeFi project, including BlockFi, including Compound, anyone else, right? Tether invested in Celsius at $120 million pre-money valuation. After 6 months of due diligence, right? They scrubbed everything and they gave us the highest valuation. Any company in trouble would never be able to raise money at this kind of valuation. So that stamp of approval from the third largest project in crypto. Go on CMC. If you don't understand who Tether is, go on CMC and look at the third largest coin with over $10 billion market cap. So the issue is that the enemies of Celsius are the people that are afraid of Celsius. They're the people who think that Celsius is going to get too big and too strong because Celsius is giving so much back to the customer. And the secret that the customer should be earning this much is going to come out. And everybody, when they're going to see that the emperor has no clothes and you can just take the money from them and move it somewhere else, and now you can do it over ACH and SEPA, and that's the end of the story, right? When somebody doesn't pay, in Europe, they charge you money to deposit money in the bank account. I mean, it's just lunacy, you know? And they charge you money to take it out through the ATM, and they charge you money just to have an account, and they charge you money to deposit it, and they charge you money to store it. It's just lunacy, right? I mean, we the people who are working to create all the money, right, are being basically beaten up from every direction. It's like you're being slapped in your face no matter what you do. So there is an alternative. There is a solution. It's legal. It's compliant. It's global. It's provided now by many, many companies, right? It's not just Celsius. Now every DeFi guy is saying, oh, I'm going to be better than Celsius. Well, still, no one pays higher rates than Celsius because no one is giving you up to 80% back. Look at the simple math. Go to compound.com, look at the rate to borrow, look at the rate that they lend, and see are you getting 80% of the value? Are you the depositor getting 80% of the rate that is being charged to the lender? That is the key message and the key test. Ask your bank, go to Goldman Sachs, go to Barclays, and say, I'm giving you this deposit. How much are you lending it for? How much am I getting back? And if you're not getting 80%, that means that they're stealing from you. It's that simple.
And maybe I can take some responsibility to some complaints for community members of why you're not doing this, why should I go through this process, and put everything in context. And the end of the day, Celsius is serving the best benefit of clients. And in order to do that, the company must be able to work with, you know, the big institutional, the big hedge funds, those who Celsius makes it money with. In order to do that, we must make sure that everything Celsius does is, first of all, legal and fully compliant, and second of all, that all money is clean. And I cannot emphasize this enough. The fact that the first regulation in terms of crypto was AML proves that
anti-money laundering, just to make sure everybody knows what the terms are.
You know, crypto guys becoming more and more experts on banking laws and anti-money laundering. So it's a sophisticated crowd. The reason is that one rotten apple would may poison the entire Celsius basket. And in order to make
that's the dream of every bank. The dream of every bank is to catch one bad apple and tell the regulator, shut these guys down. They're bad. That's their dream, right? They're dying for something like this to happen.
So I take full responsibility. But Alex lives in 2030. I need to make sure he still has Celsius by then. So.
All right, look, we have a lot of questions. A lot of people have submitted stuff. Let's start kind of answering some of the Q&A. Tom, as always, thanks for organizing this and curating the list. So hit us with the best you have.
So the first one we have is from Abdul. He goes, I am new here. What is the benefits of investing in Celsius Network through Bank to the Future?
So Abdul, thanks for joining and thanks for having interest in this community, right? So when Celsius started, we wrote a white paper and we created the idea of that something could be acting in the best interest of the community. Again, we're not a neutral marketplace like DeFi is. We're not a bank which is acting only in the best interest of the shareholders. We are only acting in the best interest of the users who give us their coins. And so besides the token that we created, the CEL token, and the ability to earn interest, we thought that to align the interest of the users with Celsius, we want to give people a seat on the bus right next to us, right? Right next to me, next to Daniel, my co-founder, and the 80 something employees that we have in Celsius. So and the best way to do that is to enable you to buy equity, to align your interest. So if we make a lot of money because we created this amazing company, you also get to participate in that value creation. The biggest problem you have today on Wall Street and on Silicon Valley and anywhere else is that most of us are helping create these amazing companies, Uber and Airbnb and all these other stuff, because we use their services, right? Facebook and Google and so on. We use their services every day. We create value. Yeah, we have a little bit of a benefit by using the service, but most of the value is created inside the company and you do not get to participate. So here Celsius comes and says, we're gonna let people come in at the same valuation as Tether. Tether invested $120 million pre, you get to come in at the same price. We're not unlike other projects that did similar things, but they did them at $8 or $9 billion valuation. So the VCs already created 8 or 9 billion for themselves, and now they're letting you participate, and they're sprinkling a little bit of crumbs your way. You can come in and buy as much as you want, side by side, sit right in the bus right next to me, on my right or on my left, as the largest shareholder in Celsius. So that's why we're doing it, and over 850 people, many of them are users of Celsius, said, I want a seat on the bus. I want to participate in the value creation, because for the last 2.5 years, I've been tracking this, and this has legs. This is something that is doing what it's promising. It is acting in the best interest of the community. And if we don't support this project, what are going to be left with are banks and financial institutions that just steal from us every day. Next question.
So the next question is from Wade. With the guidance that was issued yesterday from the US OCC, Office of Controller of the Currency, do you see Celsius Network obtaining a banking license?
Banks are not your friends. I should have wore that shirt today, but Roni, what do you think? I mean, my view, just two words on it, and you can take it over. The fact that regulators all over the world are saying to banks, like in Germany, right? BaFin did the same thing, awarded 41 different licenses to banks, saying to banks, you can now go and be in crypto, right? Here is how you do it legally. It doesn't mean that other people cannot be in crypto. It just means that now banks who didn't know if they can or cannot, because they have other requirements, other regulatory and licensing requirements, they were afraid that touching crypto would mean that they're violating their license. So I don't see that as Celsius becoming a bank. I just see that as more banks can now work with Celsius without having a problem. And we already work with probably a dozen different banks all over the world, and now being able to work with 100 or 200 of them is a great thing for Celsius.
So Alex, I'm so proud you gave the best legal answer that a lawyer can give. So I will give the business answer, if I may. I mentioned adoption before. Adoption cannot be without, you know, the big players, the players that people can know how to work with today will get involved in this, into this industry. And the fact that what's happening now, it's not prohibited. I mean, banks are allowed to hold cryptocurrencies worldwide, but the fact that they're changing the policy means even more than changing the regulation. Because if they could have done it until now and decided not to, now they have the comfort to do that. And if they will do that, they will show that this industry is not so bad. It's actually quite good. And this allows more and more products to be offered, more partners for Celsius, and this entire industry will grow all across the board.
All right, great. Next question, Tom.
Good business answer, Alex.
Excellent. Yeah, listen. If this thing with Celsius doesn't work out, I want a seat at your law firm. I'm gonna take that. I'm just gonna get a license and start working on crypto companies. So.
I'm in the second episode of Freaky Friday. Okay, so James has asked, this is for you, Alex. Why is it that you have high loans available and yet nothing like $10 or $100 loans?
Right. So we want to provide the smallest loans possible, but for a variety of reasons, mostly tech related, we started at, I think, 10,000, then we lowered to 5,000, then 3,000. Now I think it's 1,000. So we're going to lower the minimums further as we automate more and more of the function, as we get licenses all over the world and so on. So they're both regulatory requirements as well as technical requirements. Like in some countries, for example, if the loan actually is smaller, it does require a license, but the loan is bigger, it does not require a license. Go explain that to anyone. But we have to be compliant, and but we are lowering the averages, lowering the minimums. And right now it's at 1,000. That's a minimum loan size, and I think the next step would be $500. Next question.
The next question come through is from Celia. She goes, how does your gold with interest work? Do we buy the gold through you? Where is it stored? And when we want to sell it, do we sell it through you? I think it's for you, Alex.
Yeah, so yes, you can buy gold through us through the Simplex credit card interface. You can also buy it from FTX or from Bitfinex. We do not store it. All the gold, what we sell you is the token, right? But behind every token, there's gold sitting in a vault in Switzerland, which you can actually, if you fly to Switzerland and give them your token, they will give you the physical gold. So all the gold is managed and stored and bought by Tether Gold. If you go to gold.tether.to, you can see all the information there about the product and the insurance and everything else. Celsius allows you to take that asset, either you bought it from us or you bought it from one of the other channels, deposit it in our app. So we take your token and we give you 3% interest or 4% in sell token, right? So what we add to the value here is that it becomes a positively yielding asset, which you cannot get anywhere else on Tether. We plan to add other assets, Paxos Gold, and few others. It's coming soon. And again, Celsius is the only place where you can buy it, redeem it if you want to, right? You can get the physical gold. You can't do that anywhere else. And the only place where you actually earning gold on gold, and we earn that. It's not like some giveaway or some airdrop, which some of the other guys are doing. So you have to really do some research and see if the people that are running these things, if they're actually earning it. Find one institution that says, yep, I'm working with Celsius, I'm working with this other company, and I pay them interest because I borrow these assets from them. That is a viable business model, right? When the borrower is your lender, like they do in Compound, right? It's all farming, and the only yield is the comp token. That is not a viable business model, because the minute the rain stops, the comp rain stops, the music stops as well, and everybody leaves, right? So with Celsius, we've proven that our flywheel, our model, is sustainable and can handle tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. And that's what no one else has been able to replicate. Next question.
Thank you. So I have a compliance question here. This is from Chris. I'm doing a cash out refinance mortgage and using the cash for home repairs. I'm considering depositing it into Celsius via USDC and letting it sit till we need to use it. When depositing large amounts, is it flagged by or to the authorities? Thank you.
I think it's for you, Roni. All right, I know where Roni is, but yeah, go ahead.
No. First of all, as I said, and again, I apologize because I'm here to make sure everything is for the long term. Celsius works in full compliance with whatever reporting requirements are required, both from the company's perspective, the amount it generates, the interest that is paid to its clients, and for suspicious activities. I think that everything is clear in the T's and C's. I'm not. I don't know specifically this item whether it will or will not be reported in this case, but we work hand by hand, and if that's a legal requirement, that will be reported as part of the 1099 that Celsius submits.
Yeah, just to add to that, so like Roni said, there are things we have to watch on the inbound. So when you give us money, it's called SAR reports or suspicious activity report. We in the United States, we may have to file it. It has to do with where the money came from. Sometimes a regulator calls us and says, hey, tell me more about this transaction. Sometimes we have to file it as a suspicious activity because we think it's suspicious. Sometimes we kick out the customer and say, hey, this money you sent us, we don't think it's kosher. Here it is back. We shut down your account, never talk to us again, right? So if it came from a flagged country or a flagged jurisdiction, or it came from a source that has legal issues. So we, from that standpoint, again, part of our filing with FinCEN and part of the other things that Roni talked about, we have to do all these things to stay compliant and to be able to do the services we do for the rest of the community, right? So basically the regulator is looking at you and saying, look, I believe you that you're doing everything in the best interest of your users, but frankly, I don't care. Here's all the rules that you have to be compliant to. You have to watch all these people, that there is no bad apple there. And if there is, you have to report to me, right? And you have to say that to me. So it really doesn't matter what country you're from, or where you're living, or what you're doing. If we see suspicious activity, we have to report it to the local regulator, or the local follow the local laws. But just a deposit, a transfer is not a trigger. It could be even a transfer of a $10 million, doesn't matter. It's not an automatic trigger of us going to report that information to anybody else. So yes, we are compliant. If you want to know more, look at the laws in your country, and you will find out that Celsius follows all of those regulations. Next question.
Thank you. So this question comes in from Rob, and it's for you, Alex. Do I need to take Ether off of Celsius to stake it?
No, you do not need to change anything. When Ether will be available, when staking will be available in Ether, you will just either earn more or less than what is published today, right? So the rate, secret, we just raised the rate on Bitcoin, Ether, and a few other coins coming at you Monday, because we earn more. But basically the rate represents what we can earn against it. So if you're earning, let's say the staking rate is 4%, but we're earning 5% or 6% lending it out, then the rate we will publish would be higher than the staking rate. But it will never be lower than the staking rate, because worst case scenario, we're just staking it, right? We're only gonna be not staking if someone pays us more to borrow that asset. Next question.
Thank you. This next question is also for you, Alex. It comes from Kyle. As a Canadian, I'm finding it difficult for Canadian dollar on and off ramps into your wallet. Currently, I have to navigate a bunch of hops through exchanges. Is there a team working on the solution to simplify or streamline this for more Canadian adoption?
Yeah, so we do have, we support with True Token Canadian dollar. So if you go to I think it's truetoken.com, you can buy Canadian dollar right on their website. We don't sell it ourselves, but if you bought that, you deposit with us, you can earn yield on that in Canadian dollars. We I think through Simplex, we support transactions in Canada, so you can buy and sell crypto, other crypto, right inside the app. But I don't think it includes a Canadian dollar. It includes some stable coins and Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think. But check it out. We are planning to add more assets. I know the Canadian regulators have recently approved 1 or 2 stable coins. So these are things that we're just waiting for these things to be mature enough to have enough volume. Because if it has, I don't know, $1 million in tokenization, it's not enough for us to be able to do the lending and borrowing that we normally do. Next question.
Thank you. So this next question is from Greg, and it's about Ethereum again. Are you worried about the increasing gas fees on the Ethereum transactions? Is there a risk that Celsius will have to introduce fees to withdraw our coins?
It's a very valid thing. Again, Celsius is one of the few platforms that does not charge withdrawal fees, as you know. Most of you probably don't know, but BlockFi charges you to withdraw your coins, as well as other providers. So Celsius basically subsidizes it. Part of our cost, part of our the 20% that we take from you is to pay withdrawal fees, is to subsidize some of the other fees. And we're hoping to do the same thing with ACH, where we won't be charging you any fees. We're just working the details there. But right now, we are managing it well. What we're doing is we're just delaying your withdrawal. So, or we packaging transactions together to avoid paying the high fees. So right now, basically, if you see delays in withdrawals on ETH specifically, usually you would see that there was a spike in the gas prices, and we just decided to wait a little bit to withdraw. If it becomes unsustainable, and by the way, 80% of the reason why the rates are so high has to do with Tether, and the fact that Tether is such a high volume token on the Ethereum platform, right? So it's a good thing, bad thing. The fact that there is so much activity is what actually subsidizes. That's what enables Ethereum to develop staking and develop all these amazing projects and DeFi and everything else. Tether is paying for all the DeFi projects because it pays 80% of the gas out there as people use it as a form of payment on the blockchain. Next question.
Thank you. Roni, this one's for you. It comes from Dave. You mentioned in previous AMAs that you're setting up in the UK, but what is the process you have started with the UK FCA?
So I think we addressed this before. We filed for a registration with the FCA, meaning that, first of all, we reported that Celsius is doing its business from the UK through a UK company. We have broken down all of the activities done by the Celsius Group, not only the company based in the UK, meaning that the due diligence went through the earned interest, the borrowing of cryptocurrencies, the fiat lending for stable coins, for non-stable coins. They were going through the investment and why we've done it and how. All of the legal advice that was given to Celsius during the 2 years it's been active. IT, the way the system reports between the different departments and the way clients' money is protected and the way risk is being managed. And I think the last item is somewhere about the budget in the traditional scenario, the good scenario, and the stress scenario. So it's an application for registration, but the scope was basically like a full-blown application. And as Alex mentioned, it was right after the heavy due diligence we had with the fundraising. So we had basically everything in place. And we now have this package to go worldwide for future licenses.
Yeah, just to add to that we have a UK auditor, and besides filing with our 2019 audit, and we were now working on the 2020 audit, obviously they want to see all the financials as well. They want to make sure that it's full disclosure. This is opening the kimono as wide as you can, the same way we did for all of our investors, and the same thing we're doing to the regulators and to the auditors. And again,
it's public.
And it's public, exactly. So any anyone who thinks there's monkey business, or I heard a rumor, or Celsius is slow to give funds, or somebody's saying bad things about Celsius, hey, like if it's good enough for the regulators, the auditors, the accountants, the lawyers, everybody else, don't listen to the FUD. The FUD is because everybody's jealous. The FUD is the fact that 145,000 people signed up and registered with Celsius, and no one else has that, right? No one else can show you this much in AUM, this much in interest earned, and actually prove to you that the interest was earned. I just came from a internal product review, which we're launching in a few weeks, where when you get your interest, you can click on a button and see an internal audit of making sure that what you were paid is true. You were paid the percentage you earned, and what is your ratio to the total interest earned, right? Try to go to your bank and ask them for that. Ask your bank for full transparency of, okay, where did you earn the money? Who paid you this money? How much of it did I get? And I want to see what everybody else got paid to make sure that I'm being treated right, right? So the level of transparency that Celsius offers today does not exist in a single financial institution in the world. No one is offering anything like that. So why is Celsius so transparent, right? Because like Roni said in the beginning, we have to earn your trust. And we're not going to earn it by talk or by giving you the horse and pony show or hire some celebrity to talk on our behalf. We're going to do it by opening up the kimono and showing you how it should have been done, how the banks should have been doing this for you, right? The reason we created Celsius is because we realized no one will ever build a system like this. They will just steal more and more and more from you until there's nothing left. And now there's nothing left. Rates are 0 or negative, right? Enough is enough. Next question.
All right, now we got you fired up, Alex. I got a tough question for you here
Yes.
from Dave. I want to invest a large sum of Aussie dollars into Cell. Can you please explain why supporting your coin is not going to be like every other altcoin? I think that altcoin founders are just hustling for more Bitcoin. What sets you apart?
It's true. Everything you said is true. And unfortunately, when you look at many of these projects, let's first paint the scenario of what happens normally, right? So normally there's an ICO or there is a creation of a token generation event. And as soon as possible, the founders dump all their coins as fast as they can, or their token, on the community, right? The higher it goes, the faster they dump it. And they try to list it in as many places as possible. And they're hyping it, and they're hiring celebrities, and they're running around the world, and they're having dinner with the most famous people on the planet, right? They pay $5 million to have dinner with somebody just so people will say, oh, it's legitimate. Look, they had dinner with a famous guy, right? So look at what Celsius does. The opposite of everything we just said. We did not list on a single exchange for a year after the launch of the project. We had a working product. We had tens of thousands of customers before we launched on Liquid as our first exchange. Liquid is a regulated exchange. They have licenses, they have everything. We didn't go and do like a hustle on Binance or whatever, right? So in keeping up with everything to be kosher, everything to be perfect, we chose an exchange that did not charge us fees. We didn't want to give $1 million to Binance so we could put our coin there so we could dump it on the community, right? It's the opposite of what we're trying to do. And we made sure that the flywheel was working before we listed. And then we made sure that we explained to everybody how the flywheel works. And we slowly build up the community. I got an email from well, I don't know if he wants me to mention his name, but it's a guy I met in person several times. And he thanked me. He said, Alex, you made me a millionaire. Okay. I in my entire life, I didn't think I could become a millionaire. And I invested in Cell. I believed in it. I stuck with it. I hodled, and I'm now a millionaire, right? And that's what the value creation is all about. It's about everybody participating. And as you create more and more value, it is going to the entire community. A great case of that is Ethereum. Ethereum created more millionaires than any public company in history. How can that be? How can Ethereum create more millions? Because most of the public companies, their stock is already owned by very, very rich people, but few very rich people, right? WhatsApp got sold for $22 billion. Do you know how many shareholders it had? It had one investor, Sequoia Capital, and like 2 founders, right? That's it, or 3 founders, right? So there was no value creation for you and me, even though we use WhatsApp every day, right? So what you want is as broad participation as possible, like Ethereum, like Bitcoin. And then you want that you do good, right? Only after you do well, right? Sorry, you do well only after you do good. I got myself confused here. So the point is that Cell Token, like I'll give you another example, okay? We have 25 million tokens allocated to all of our employees when the Cell Token hits $1.50 for 10 days in a row. And when people say to me, Alex, I hear you don't pay the highest salaries. How come none of your employees, they don't quit? You know, they're getting bigger offers from everybody else and they don't quit. They stick with Celsius. Why? Because we put a carrot out there, a giant carrot, right? 25 million tokens at $1.50. That's $37.5 million worth of value as a carrot in front of the team saying, hey, you create this value for the community and we will put this reward to all of you. Stick around, hodl, and you will see that happening, right? And this was done day one when we just designed the Cell Token in the white paper in 2017. It's not some gimmick that we created when we got to 80 employees and said, oh gosh, how do we retain them? Okay, let's give them some tokens, right? So everything you look at, you will see that Celsius is the gold standard for compliance, for business model, for giving back to the community, for how a token should be structured, right? You name it. We are the gold standard. Everybody's copying Celsius. Some of these projects are on version 3.0 trying to copy Celsius, right? And we're always saying, every AMA I say, if you have a better idea of how it works, if you have a better idea of how Celsius should be running, or how the token should be allocated, or how we can act even more in the best interest of the community, write to me, alex@mashinsky.com. I get hundreds of emails every day from people who say, oh my God, I can't believe Alex responded to my email. I respond to all my emails, all by myself. So why? Because we really believe in doing the best interest of the community. Now, show me another project that actually acts in your best interest. Our largest competitor, which is backed by 16 billionaires, look at BlockFi, go to their list of investors. They list them proudly. Hey, look at this guy, the richest guy in Philadelphia. Look at this guy, the biggest thief on Wall Street. Look at this guy. All of them, right? They're all people who are doing this because they want to make sure that Celsius does not survive, right? BlockFi has to win for Celsius not to survive, because if Celsius makes it real good and helps 100 million people, Wall Street will not survive, right? It's a binary outcome here. Who's gonna win? And if you're putting half of your coins with Celsius and half of your coins with somebody else, you are guaranteeing that Celsius will not survive, because this is war. This is not like some little skirmish. This is not kumbaya, let's all work together. This is Wall Street against crypto. Our backers are Tether and 850 crypto holders. Tether, the largest tokenized, the third largest coins, because neither Bitcoin or Ethereum can invest in you. So we chose the third largest guy on one side, and on the other side, 16 billionaires from Wall Street. So you decide what you want to do. You decide who you want to back. And if they tease in front of you a little bit more interest, it's because they want to kill Celsius. And the minute Celsius doesn't exist, what do you think your interest is going to be? Just like with the bank, 0. That's what you're going to get from the other side. Next question.
So Roni, I'm hoping you can help me out with this question. It comes from James. Are there any plans to include inheritance preferences within the app? I'm not sure what the legal requirements will be for that.
I'm trying to understand the question exactly.
If somebody dies, how do people,
so
survivors?
just didn't hear that. So first of all, the fact that Celsius connects the account to a specific individual makes it traceable. The fact that someone can come and say, hey, this is my my parent account, this is his will, release the tokens for me. That's the advantages of money held by not only through a private key, but rather through someone that is, again, sorry for that, regulated and has the full obligation towards you, and therefore your successors. So if they will come and show that they really have a claim for this money based on the jurisdiction where the client is based, my advice to Celsius will be releasing this money in accordance with the law in the specific jurisdiction. And obviously Celsius has the technical ability to do so, especially if you compare it to a decentralized solution or having your own key, which has its own benefits. But I can only speak about Celsius business model, and therefore, in this case, first of all, sorry for their loss, and second of all, Celsius will be obligated to release the funds once appropriate evidence will be shown to it.
And but just to add to that, we are adding in the app the ability of you as the parent or the uncle or the husband to designate your legal person who they still have to show up documentation. They're still going to have to show up a death certificate or whatever is the law in the land where we have to comply. But at least we can match one to another, right? So we can say, okay, this is what you told us. This is the claimant. Okay, let's make sure that we're talking about the same person.
Thank you. So Alex, this question's for you. It comes from Bob. Why is there no insurance offered for deposits of Bitcoin? How do I know you'll be around to return the Bitcoin?
So when you give us Bitcoin, it's not like it's ours, right? It's yours. Legally, it is still your Bitcoin. The only thing we do is when you lend us your Bitcoin, we lend them to people who pay us interest. When they return them, it goes back to the wallet and it's still yours from that wallet. So the question is really, is the wallet insured? And you hear all over the place people saying, I have insurance, I have insurance. Great, let's dig into it, right? So maybe Roni is not going to tell me. Roni's probably whispering in my ear right now saying, don't use names, Alex. Don't get yourself in trouble. Just use generic terms. Don't use any company name. But many of these companies that offer insurance, am I reading your mind, Roni? Or I'm doing a good job reading your mind, right?
Same as always, yeah.
So many of these companies in the US, in Europe, everyone who claims they have insurance, there's no question that they have insurance, right? We all agree. Like when Gemini tells you they have $225 million insurance, yes, for sure. I have no doubt that the Winklevoss twins bought insurance from Lloyd's or somewhere else. And when you store coins in cold storage or Gemini, they are insured and protected. And it's one of the best places to put your stuff in cold storage, right? And end of sentence, right? Let's start a new sentence. Now, to earn yield, there is no scenario where you can keep stuff in cold storage and earn yield at the same time. Because the only way you earn yield is how Celsius invented this whole category, is rehypothecating the asset. What does it mean rehypothecating? You took the keys and you gave them to somebody else. You lent them out, hopefully to an institution. You don't want to lend them out to some retail guy who may disappear with them, which is what some other guys are doing. Celsius only lends to institutions. So we give the key to an institution and we say, okay, we trust you, but trust but verify, right? That's what Reagan taught us. We trust you, but give me some cash. Let's put some cash in a bank account while you hold the keys. That's a collateral, right? And I'm going to charge you interest in Bitcoin. I gave you Bitcoin keys, give me Bitcoin. Let's say, I don't know, round numbers, 10% a year. Here's 100 Bitcoins. At the end of the year, I want 110. Then when they return the 110 Bitcoin, it goes back to cold storage. then it's insured. By the time it was out, it's not insured at all. So insurance is not applicable because of the business model. So you want to earn interest, there is no insurance. Now, while it's moving through, when you move it out of a cold wallet, you have to put it in a hot wallet. And Celsius currently is the only company in the world that actually has insurance while it's moving. We don't have insurance while it's lent out, but we have insurance while it's moving in and out, and we're lending it to you or out because we're using Fireblocks, which is a MPC company, and the insurance companies are comfortable that this is the best technology in the world, and that's why they insured it for $20 million. And Roni has a few comments as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to understand to the user what he or she has with Celsius, and this is why Celsius must be fully transparent. And this brings us back to the discussion we had at the beginning. Not only that insurance companies were simply ignoring crypto companies 2 years ago, so today we're even in a better shape. Like Alex said, we had to face the fact that at first they want to understand the business model. So let's say the legal right of any user towards Celsius is a very strong and solid right to get, first of all, the money that was sent to Celsius, and second of all, the interest that was credited to the user's account with Celsius. Celsius creditors are the users. And that's why the only way to show them that Celsius always has enough money or funds or coins to return to them is to show the AUM in any given time. So whenever Celsius shows the amount of deposits and the amount of money held by it or deployed by it, the user can know that is right with Celsius, as it is very clear in the T's and C's. The right to receive whatever was transferred to Celsius plus interest can always be fulfilled by Celsius. So this is the legal structure of the services provided. And I don't think people always understand it. I mean, the fact that Celsius is in between the institutional and the client doesn't mean that Celsius is walking out of the way and you need to face the institutional. By the way, the T's and C's themselves say that Celsius takes the obligation of working against whoever not returning the coins that were deployed by it. Meaning that Celsius always takes the liability, first of all, to hold the money to pay back to its users and the interest, and second of all, to act against whoever is trying to fight its ability to do so.
And in 2.5 years, we have not had a single institution that did not return the coin or did not pay interest, or even was late. We issued hundreds and hundreds of margin calls to different institutions during all the ups and downs in the last 2.5 years, probably thousands of them, right? And we had not had a single incident where an institution said, oh, I'm in trouble, or I'm late, or I gave the coins to somebody else and I don't have them. Everyone had to pay what they borrowed, gave it back, or gave us more collateral if they had a margin call, and everybody had to pay interest, paid the full interest. We did not even have a single case where somebody said, you know what, here is half of the interest. And that just tells you the quality of the institutions that we're working with. Now, let's compare that to other people, right? And let's compare it to what happened on March 12 or in November and so on, where all these flash crashes happen. And you can see, just go on Twitter and put any company you want that is competing with Celsius and the word liquidation or the world margin call or the world word, right? Put those words in and you will see hundreds of people complaining of how they got whacked and liquidated and charged crazy fees, a stability fee or liquidation fee, or I don't know what fee, right? 16%, 20%. Find one person that got liquidated by Celsius or that got charged a fee by Celsius for any of these things in 2.5 years. Okay, hundreds of thousands of transactions. Next question.
Thank you. So I have a regulation question here. It comes from Nate. I am a Texas resident. What regulations are preventing Texans from earning interest on stable coins through the Celsius Network platform? What can we do to speed the process up? Roni, if you could start for us, please.
So actually, the situation in the US, the fact that Texas speeded up made it more difficult to provide services there. the money transmission laws in the US, there's always a question of whether they apply on cryptocurrencies or not. And almost half or a bit more of US states declared that the answer is yes. Others are a bit vague, and some of them are taking retroactive steps. And that's why we're doing the day-to-day risk management of what's the regulatory position today in the specific country or specific state. With Texas, the regulator made it clear, I think more than 2 years ago or more than a year ago. And this is part of the things Celsius is taking into account in terms of licensing roadmap. Which market is the next one to focus, which will bring more Celsians on board. So I won't send anyone to the regulator's office and make them put Celsius first in line or reduce the cost of this entire process. But I can assure each potential user of Celsius that any country and any state is in the roadmap. It's a matter of efficiency, clients, community, and costs. And this is what we are trying to balance whenever we decide to apply for this state and not this state this time. As Alex says, next question.
Moving on. Alex, this one's for you. This comes from Paul. Looks like you're adding about 5,000 new users a week right now. Do you have a target for total users for the end of 2020 and 2021?
So with the funds that we raised, right, total is just over $20 million. We hope to actually complete the raise with closer to 30 million. So we're still closing with a few other institutions, even though we're closing the window on Bank to the Future, we are still raising additional funds. We are using that money to accelerate the growth of Celsius, and that involves many different things. One of them is, for example, the day we closed with Tether, they funded, we doubled the rewards to the community, right? So now you bring a friend, you get $20, they get $20. It used to be 10 and 10, right? You bring a loan, you get $100, they get $100, right? So these are amazing rewards, which we're taking investors' money and we're giving it to you instead of giving it to Google, Facebook, and all these other guys, right? Why give it to them if I can give it to you? So right now, the best way to see what's happening is to go sign up as an ambassador of Celsius and see what's happening. Over 600 people signed up to be ambassadors. They're creating content in every language on the planet. They are creating their own way of how to scale Celsius. And what we do is we celebrate the best winners. Like I point out today with Celsius.com. It's one of our best ambassadors, right? They've done an excellent job. Their site looks better than the Celsius website, right? Has content that we do not have, right? And that's the whole point. The whole point is that it's not like we have all the answers. We want the community, like the girls that did the video, Celsius app, say bye-bye to bank, right? Beautiful. I love that. I can't stop singing that song, right? Here, Tommy's already dancing to it. So the point is, the point is that the hockey stick is going to come from something the community did, not from something that I did. Okay, we don't have exclusivity on ideas. So what we do is we incentivize the community that's cheering for us every day to come up with that adoption in gaming and in social media and in on Instagram, for example, where we want to find more women to join the crypto community, right? We haven't solved any of those things. Celsius is 90% men, right? That's not good. I'm not talking about the company. The company is almost 50-50 women, but the Celsius community is almost 90% men, as is the crypto community. So there's still major challenges. And what we want is to enable as many people as possible. Like Tom used to be an ambassador and now he's full-time with Celsius, right? So what we want to do is take the best and brightest and empower them to build this stuff up. This is not for me. We're not building this for Alex or Daniel or Roni or anybody else, right? This is built for the community. And that's what's going to enable it to be a self-sustaining, independent institution. That's how you build a self-sustaining, independent institution, just like voice over IP, right? Do you think the phone companies wanted to kill voice over IP? Do you think they just let us go around and let everybody use something for free that they used to charge $1 or $2 a minute? So this is the same thing. Taking the power away from the banks and giving it back to the people is only going to happen if all the people get involved. And I ping the community every day. I post on Twitter, on Telegram, on LinkedIn, and other places. I ask people, what are you doing? What are you doing to create this? Are you just going to sit on the sideline and collect your interest? Or are you going to take some action and help us get to the next step? Are you going to divide your coins between us and the people who are trying to take us out? Or are you going to support this community? And that's what every person has to decide. Every day you use a credit card, you use a bank. Every day you deposit money in a bank, you are not empowering the crypto community. You're not empowering Celsius. And you're not empowering yourself, which is the most important thing, right? If you care about your kids and you care about our way of living, it is disintegrating in front of our eyes. And it's not because we have our best people representing us. It's because we have our worst people representing us. Next question.
Thank you, Alex. So this is for you, Roni. I've got a hypothetical situation here for you. Given the recent demonstration of how USDC may be frozen in the accounts of bad actors, what would prevent a future government ordering, freezing, or invalidating USDC deposits more broadly?
So first of all, it's a matter of where you're looking at from. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, crypto and blockchain bring us lots of advantages. They bring bad people lots of opportunities as well. If you go back to what happened in 2017, the fact that more people managed to raise money in non-traditional way after they tried to do it in the traditional way shows you that they didn't deserve this money. And the fact that regulators and government are taking over accounts and money that should not go to a specific place or a specific beneficiary means that crypto and law and the overall incentive can all live side by side. And crypto does not need to be the club of the wrongdoing. It can benefit the standard Joe Doe, and this world can keep on existing, providing good services, benefit clients, and provide good financial services, and still acting against those who are acting against the community and the best interest of the global population in general. So I see it as a good thing. I think that as more adoption we'll have with this community, we'll have not only the tools of enforcement, but also the tools of government will have more and more technology to fight over this. They'll have more supervision on what's happening with blockchain, and as more trust and stability to this market through these tools, I can see more and more big players getting into this. And this is, and taking us back to the OCC question and how I look at this. I don't think they would even consider holding cryptocurrencies if they wouldn't think that this industry is going in the right direction. And one of the reasons is the example that you just mentioned.
Just to add to that, it's a spectrum, right? It's not like black and white. You have most extreme cases like Zcash and others that are fully trying to hide identities and transactions. And then you have people who are fully compliant like USDC. And in the middle, you got plenty of other players that offer a variety of shades of either compliance or transparency, right? So each person has to decide based on where you live, what you're doing. Are you using USDC or USDT or GUSD, or we just listed BUSD, right? And so on. So each one of those, the reason we support 12 different stable coins is because we want to give people the choice. We're not telling you which one is the best. We are basically giving you the choice of here is a Hong Kong dollar, here is an Australian dollar, here's a Canadian dollar. Each one of those has its own jurisdiction and its own rules compared to, for example, USDC, right? And the laws are very different. It's not like the law in Australia is the same as it is in the United States or the same as it is in Hong Kong. right? So our job is not to pick the assets. We include only assets that yield. Our job is to give you the diversification that you need to achieve your financial goals. Next question.
Thank you. So I've got a question here from Jack. I'm not sure which one of you would like to field this. How do you think about, from a risk management perspective, things like gap risk and liquidity risks when lending on behalf of Celsius clients?
It's a great question, because all of these things you just mentioned apply mostly to banks, because banks have 10, 20, 30, 50 to 1 leverage. So the regulators are sweating bullets every day, worrying that some bank, like if Deutsche Bank makes a tiny mistake with 3% of their balance sheet, they're wiped out because they're 50 to 1 leverage. So if they made a mistake of more than 2%, they lost their entire asset base, right? Basically the assets that they have that belong to Deutsche Bank, right? So the issue with Celsius is that we do not have any leverage. We're not a bank. We're not allowed to create leverage. We can't create money out of thin air like bank can, right? Banks can just create as much money as they want, right? With fractional reserves. We cannot do any of those things. So like I said before, we only lend what we have on deposit. We can never do more loans than we have in deposit. That's why we always can return all the assets to all of our customers. Even if everybody doesn't pay us interest, we can still return all the assets to all of our customers at any time. And we've always had that possibility since Celsius was created. Next question.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, we're on to our final 2 questions. I have one for you, Roni. What are the compliance bodies Celsius has already complied with, and how much does it cost Celsius every year?
I can only tell you how much Celsius is paying me, but I guess I won't say this as well. Celsius is a UK company, is compliant with obviously UK law, and given the offices it has in Israel and in the US, that's the second layer. And I can tell you that Celsius policies and procedures are in full compliance with these 3 jurisdictions. We're also taking into account what's happening in Australia as the next market. So we already adjusted the internal documentation for that. And in general, given that some of our partners are based in Europe, and Europe is a big market, both for Celsius and in general, the compliance is done at the European directive level. And for the big markets where we see more and more interest in Celsius, we make sure that the little tweaks that any specific country requires are also implemented within the internal procedures. So I give you a small insight on how it looks from the inside. Like any company, so it has its very big book of how it does its business, and then we have like chapters for each jurisdiction. So we're adding more and more jurisdiction on a daily basis or on a monthly basis, whether because we see a significant growth in a specific market, or whether we see that this is the next market and we want to make sure we come in clean hands to the regulator, and we can share whatever Celsius is doing without thinking twice. So this entire mechanism is embedded within all of the internal procedures.
Look, it costs millions of dollars. Our compliance department is larger than our marketing department, right? So, and that's because we are protecting our depositors. If we were just, look, our European competitor, not to mention names, but our European competitor has regulators writing public announcements that they are not compliant, that they are not doing things following the rules.
Let me correct you, Alex. The regulators are saying they are not regulated, even though they are saying so.
Right. They're saying as well that even though these entities claim that they are compliant or claim that they're regulated, they are not. Right. So the compliance and all the stuff is very expensive. It's not cheap. And to do that right, to protect your depositors, to protect the business, right, the franchise that you're building for all these people, it costs a lot of money. A lot of this, like a lot of what Roni does every day is trailblazing. When he tells you we might be the first one in Australia to get a license, it's not because it's easy. It's because you need to spend tremendous amount of time with these regulators and with all the different parties to get them all on the same page to approve something that they've never done before. To get the first license is not you sit on the sidelines, wait for somebody else to do it, and then you come in and say, oh, me too, right? So what Celsius does is a lot of trailblazing to create something to act in the best interest of the community. So next question, last question.
Almost brought up screen share there. So Alex, this is for you. Mark asked, you spoke recently about unauthorized exchanges purportedly trading Cell token. I use Liquid and Bitmart for the purpose. Do you have a list of Celsius approved exchanges?
Yeah, so the exchanges, both the DEXs and the centralized exchanges that we think are doing everything in your best interest are listed on our website. If you go on our website, the second or third thing is a list of exchanges that we support that you should be buying or selling Cell token on. It's not that we think that when we make an announcement about this or that exchange, what we're worried about is that these exchanges do a lot of basically wash sales. And what a wash sale means is that the price you see is not the real price. It's not a real transaction. It's not a buyer and a seller, independent buyer and a seller came together and agreed that the price of the Cell token is, I don't know, 44 cents, right? This is just a computer trying to fake a number to convince you to buy something on that exchange. And we're trying to protect you from these activities. So what Celsius does is Celsius provides actually liquidity to market makers to make sure that the spread between the bid and the ask, or the buyer and the seller, is as little as possible. We pay for that out of our pocket. We subsidize that to make sure you get the best price possible, either as a buyer or as a seller. And if the exchange that provides that service is not following best practices, we do not list them on our website. So anyone out there, any exchange, we would love to have more exchanges list token, the Cell token. What we're not gonna do is we're not gonna pay you $500,000 or $1 million. We're not gonna bring our best customers, which are the best customers in the world, to your exchange and pay you money for that. That is just ridiculous. On NASDAQ, you get paid when you bring your customers to NASDAQ. NASDAQ pays you. So I'm calling on all exchanges. You want the best 145,000 customers in the world? We have them. Come and pay me and I will bring my customer to you. And actually, first week of August, we are launching with one of these giant exchanges in a partnership, and you will see how this business is done the right way. So thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining. As always, we try to answer all your questions. The party doesn't stop here. You can always jump on Telegram or Twitter or follow us on YouTube and ask us comments. We regularly go through all of your comments and respond to them. So we're always there 24/7, 365 to act in your best interest. Roni, thanks so much. I want to thank you for the last 3 years.
And counting.
You're definitely not getting enough sleep, and I want to apologize to your wife for stealing you from her. Because you're in a different time zone and we always have to work with you late at night. But really, we would not have done Celsius without you, and we would not have done it without HFN and the rest of the team over there that's tirelessly working for us. So send our regards to them as well. And thank you, Tom.
If they want to get it, they must watch the AMA anyway. So I will not deliver this message.
That's right. You're Dan, everybody else in the team who's definitely, again, every time we have a problem, you guys come up with a solution, you find a way, and we always do it in a way that makes the regulators comfortable, makes the other lawyers or accountants in the room comfortable. And that is a mission impossible. That is not an easy task, as we know, because everybody else is still struggling with it. Everybody else is saying, oh, they haven't figured this out. They're just scamming or they're whatever, right? All this FUD out there is because people just didn't use their brain hard enough to solve the problems. We did. And we did it for the community. We didn't even do it for ourselves. right? We're still sitting on all of our tokens, waiting for them to actually have some real value. Anyway, Tom, thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, gentlemen. Goodbye. Thank you, team. Everyone have a good one.